Have you ever noticed something strange? You can know exactly what is good for you and still do the opposite. You know you should sleep earlier, yet somehow you keep scrolling. You know exercise will make you feel better, yet the couch wins again. You promise yourself that today will be different. But by evening, you're back to the same habits you swore you'd quit. It feels like your brain is working against you. But here's the surprising truth. Your brain doesn't love bad habits. It loves certainty. It loves efficiency. And above all, it loves saving energy. The habits you hate are often the ones your brain believes are keeping you safe. Today, you'll discover why your brain keeps pulling you toward behaviors that make your life harder. And more importantly, how to finally break free. The first thing to understand is that your brain was never designed to make you happy. It was designed to keep you alive. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived in dangerous environments. Food was unpredictable. Predators were everywhere. The future was uncertain. In that world, thinking deeply about every decision would have been exhausting. So evolution created shortcuts, automatic behaviors, patterns that could run without conscious effort. Those shortcuts eventually became what we call habits. Your brain is constantly asking one simple question. Can I do this without spending more energy? If the answer is yes, it will gladly hand control over to habit. Whether that habit is helpful or harmful, your brain doesn't judge. It only measures efficiency. That's why brushing your teeth eventually feels automatic. Driving familiar roads becomes effortless. Typing your password requires almost no thought. But the exact same system also creates late-night scrolling, mindless snacking, procrastination, negative thinking, and endless distractions. The brain doesn't care what the habit is, only that it has been repeated enough times. Because repetition tells the brain, this behavior must be important. Every time you repeat something, the neural pathway becomes slightly stronger. Imagine walking across an empty field. The first trip is difficult. The grass slows you down. The path barely exists. Walk that same route every day. And eventually, a clear trail appears. Your brain works exactly the same way. Repeated actions become mental highways. The more you travel them, the easier they become. Breaking a bad habit doesn't simply mean making a different choice. It means trying to leave a highway and build an entirely new road through untouched ground. That's why change feels uncomfortable. Not because you're weak, because your brain prefers the road it already knows. Now here's where things become even more fascinating. Bad habits often provide immediate rewards. Good habits usually offer delayed rewards. Your brain is naturally drawn toward instant gratification because immediate rewards once meant survival. Imagine finding sweet fruit in the wild. Eating it immediately was smarter than saving it for later. Calories were precious. Your ancestors who acted quickly survived. Your brain still carries that ancient wiring. Only today, the fruit has changed. Now it's social media, junk food, online shopping, gaming, endless notifications. Every small reward triggers the release of dopamine. Many people think dopamine is the chemical of pleasure. But that's only part of the story. Dopamine is really about anticipation. It pushes you toward rewards. Not because they make you happy forever, but because your brain believes they might. That's why checking your phone feels almost irresistible. You aren't always expecting something important. You're expecting something possible. A message, a like, a surprise, a tiny reward. Your brain loves uncertainty mixed with reward. Psychologists call this variable reinforcement. It's one of the strongest learning systems ever discovered. Casinos understand it perfectly. Slot machines don't pay every time. They pay unpredictably. That uncertainty keeps people pulling the lever. Social media works almost exactly the same way. Most posts don't excite you. Most notifications aren't meaningful. But occasionally, something interesting appears, and your brain keeps chasing that possibility. Without realizing it, you're training yourself. The habit grows stronger. Now think about procrastination. People often believe procrastination comes from laziness. But psychology tells a different story. Your brain isn't avoiding work. It's avoiding discomfort. Every challenging task creates uncertainty. Will I succeed? Will I fail? Will this be difficult? Your brain hates uncertainty. So it chooses something predictable instead. watching videos, cleaning your desk, checking messages, anything that provides immediate emotional relief. The relief feels good, even if it lasts only a few minutes. And because relief itself becomes rewarding, procrastination slowly becomes a habit. The same thing happens with emotional eating. Stress appears. Food reduces emotional discomfort. The brain remembers. Next time stress returns, it automatically suggests food again. Not because you're hungry, because your brain remembers what reduced discomfort before. This is one of the biggest misconceptions about bad habits. Most aren't chasing pleasure, they're escaping pain, even if only temporarily. Your brain always chooses the fastest exit from discomfort. Unfortunately, that shortcut often creates bigger problems later. There's another hidden force behind bad habits: identity. Every repeated behavior quietly tells your brain something about who you are. If you constantly say, I always quit, I have no discipline, I'm terrible with money, I can never stay consistent, your brain begins collecting evidence. Every small failure strengthens that identity. Eventually, your actions begin matching your beliefs. Not because they're true, but because your brain loves consistency. Changing habits becomes much easier when you stop focusing only on behavior and start changing identity. Instead of saying, I'm trying to exercise, say, I'm becoming someone who takes care of my body. Instead of, I'm trying to stop procrastinating, think, I'm becoming someone who finishes what they start. Small identity shifts create surprisingly powerful habit changes because your brain naturally wants actions that match who it believes you are. There's another reason your brain clings to bad habits: stress. When you're calm, the logical part of your brain is stronger. You make thoughtful decisions. You think long term. But under stress, the brain switches into survival mode. The emotional systems take over. Old habits return automatically. That's why people often relapse after difficult days. Not because they've lost progress, because stress activates familiar behaviors. This is why willpower alone rarely works. Willpower is like a phone battery. It drains throughout the day. Every difficult decision uses a little more mental energy. By evening, the battery is low. That's when habits take control. The smartest people don't rely on endless willpower. They redesign their environment. They remove temptation before it becomes a battle. Healthy food is easier to reach. Phones stay outside the bedroom. Workout clothes are prepared the night before. The fewer decisions your brain must make, the more likely good habits become automatic. Remember, your environment is often stronger than your motivation. If cookies sit on the kitchen counter, your brain notices them repeatedly. If your phone lights up every few minutes, your attention gets pulled away again and again. Change the environment, and the habit becomes easier to change. Here's another psychological secret. Most people try to eliminate bad habits, but the brain dislikes empty spaces. If you remove one behavior without replacing it, the old habit often returns. Instead of simply quitting scrolling, replace it with reading one page. Replace emotional eating with a short walk. Replace stress checking with slow breathing. Your brain wants something to do. Give it a better option and repeat it often. Remember, repetition is stronger than intensity. Doing something small every day changes the brain faster than doing something extreme once a month. Tiny actions build powerful identities. Powerful identities create lasting habits. Finally, stop expecting perfection. Your brain learns through repetition, not flawless performance. Missing one day changes almost nothing. Giving up completely changes everything. Every time you choose the healthier action, even for a single minute, you're quietly building a new neural pathway. One decision, one repetition, one tiny victory at a time. The old highway slowly fades. The new road becomes easier to travel. And one day, without realizing exactly when it happened, the good habit becomes automatic. The same brain that once pulled you toward bad habits now starts pulling you toward better ones. Because your brain doesn't care whether the habit is good or bad. It simply follows the path you strengthen most often. The remarkable part is this: your habits are not proof of who you are. They're proof of what you've repeated. And repetition can always change. So the next time you catch yourself falling back into an old pattern, don't ask, what's wrong with me? Ask instead, What has my brain been practicing? Because every habit, no matter how deeply rooted, was once a brand new behavior. And every better future begins exactly the same way, with one repeated choice, again and again, until your brain finally says, "This is who we are now."